Every great story is really about something deeper than itself. Beneath the kingdoms, the wars, the heroes, and the monsters lies a question as old as humanity. What is the nature of good? And why does evil seem so powerful? From the earliest myths to the great epics, from sacred texts to whispered legends, storytellers have always tried to name the unseen battle taking place within the human soul. But few modern writers wove that question into a living, breathing world the way one quiet Oxford professor did. His tale was not a sermon nor an allegory, but a subcreation, a shadowed mirror of our own world, shaped by faith, marked by fallenness, and driven by hope. And in the fires of a fictional mountain Mordor, the deepest theology of his heart was poured into gold, then bent into a circle, and finally into a story the world would never forget. For generations, countless readers have wandered the roads of Middle-earth, drawn in by its heroes, haunted by its shadows, and moved by the weight of its story. They have followed the Fellowship through fire and despair, felt the pull of the ring, and even witnessed the fall and rise of kings. Yet many pass through these pages without ever seeing the deeper story written between the lines. A quiet warning that, if ignored, even the purest intentions can be slowly reshaped into something dark, destructive, and ultimately beyond reckoning. Tolkien did not write merely to entertain. He wrote a world shaped by sin, sacrifice, and salvation. In The Lord of the Rings, evil breathes, temptation speaks, and redemption demands a cost paid in blood. To understand Tolkien's theology, we must begin where every shadow is born, with Sauron. Many forget what Sauron truly was. He wasn't a simple villain nor merely a lieutenant of Morgoth. He was once a Myron, a spirit created for beauty, craftsmanship, and order, but his desire for order became a craving for control. Tolkien writes that Sauron's fall came because he loved order and coordination, and he disliked all confusion and waste. It was here, in the very purity of that desire, that the seed of his fall was planted. His love for order grew restless, then rigid. Harmony became hierarchy, design became control. Sauron came to feel that the only way to achieve his goal of perfect harmony was to destroy anything standing at odds with his will. His pursuit for perfection and beauty grew into an insatiable hunger for absolute dominion. In the end, Sauron was not merely the making of a monster. He was the unmaking of something beautiful. A warning that even the most innocent intentions, when stripped of humility, can become the architects of their own ruin. We are tempted to believe that power is simply something to be obtained, and that if it were placed into our hands, that we would use it for good. Yet Tolkien reminds us of a far more unsettling truth, that power, when divorced from Christ and surrendered to the self, never heals the world, it slowly poisons it, until what was meant to protect becomes the very instrument of ruin. Sauron is a spiritual condition. He is the final form of sin when it has hollowed out every trace of love. He is the theological backdrop of the entire story. Sin, once welcomed, never seeks partnership, but always mastery. And the One Ring is the extension of this truth. The ring is not simply an object of magic. It's a theological symbol, and Tolkien famously wrote, "The Ring of Sauron is evil, and its work is evil. It cannot be used for good." It represents what sin truly is. Not merely breaking rules, but the rejection of God in favor of our own power, our own will, and our own throne. The ring whispers to every person differently, exactly like temptation does. To the wise it offers wisdom, to the strong strength, to the broken healing, and to the proud dominion. It offers good things, but it slowly twists them into chains of slavery. Sin never destroys everything all at once. It slowly corrupts, quietly, seductively, and this is why the ring can have no master, but rather why it masters anyone who heeds its call. Because there's never bargaining with sin. There is only surrender or deliverance. Gandalf was not merely a wandering wizard cloaked in gray. He was a Maya sent to Middle-earth not to rule it, but to serve it. While others coveted dominion, Gandalf carried a quieter calling, to kindle courage where hope had grown dim, to stir hearts towards what was good, and to remind the free people of Middle-earth that light still endured, even in the deepest shadow. Where Sauron's desire for order hardened into control, Gandalf's wisdom softened into compassion. He understood that true power is not found in mastery, but in restraint. Authority is not seized, but stewarded. And this is why, when the ring was offered to him, the very thing that could have elevated him above all others, that he recoiled. Not out of weakness, but out of clarity. He knew that the same fire that forges greatness can also consume the soul, and that no being, however wise, could ever wield such power without becoming something unrecognizable. In Gandalf, Tolkien gives us the picture of a different kind of strength. Not the will that bends the world to itself, but the love that walks beside it. Not the voice that commands, but the one that guides. He stands as a quiet witness to the truth that great goodness does not clamor for control, and that the most powerful hands are often the ones that choose to remain open in service and sacrifice. In contrast to Sauron, Gandalf shows us what the human heart could be when surrendered rather than exalted, a vessel used not for domination, but for light. Aragorn gives us the image of a redeemed authority. He was born into a broken line, the heir of kings, yet raised as a ranger, a prince without a throne, a leader without a kingdom. If Sauron's story is one of pure desire warped by power, then Aragorn's is its mirror, a rightful claim restrained by humility. He did not rush towards glory, in fact he ran from it. And in that reluctance, Tolkien offers us a quiet theological truth. The most fitting rulers are never those who hunger for power, but those who fear it. Aragorn understood something Sauron had forgotten. Authority is not a right to dominate, it's a burden to bear. While Sauron sought the ring to bend the world to his vision, Aragorn refused it. Not because he was weak, but because he was strong enough to see what it would make him. This echoes a deeper reality within our own hearts. Sin is not merely the desire to do evil. More often, it's the desire to do good, on our own terms. Like Sauron, we long for order, meaning, and control. But apart from God, that longing collapses into pride. Aragorn shows us another way. He submits rather than seizes, and he waits rather than conquers. He accepts the crown only after he has learned how to carry the cross that comes before it. In the end, Aragorn is not crowned king because he is powerful. He is crowned because he is purified. His greatness is not found in his lineage, his skill, or even his destiny, but rather his obedience. And in that, Tolkien leaves us with a final question that is as theological as it is literary. Will we be like Sauron, shaping the world in our own image, or like Aragorn, allowing ourselves to be reshaped by something greater? Frodo was never meant to be a hero. He was not trained for war, he did not crave glory, he was small, unremarkable, and utterly unsuited for the task that lay before him. And that is precisely why the task was given to him. In a world obsessed with strength, Tolkien chose a hobbit to remind us that God does the same. In 1 Corinthians 1:27, we read, God shows what is weak in the world to shame the strong. From the moment he accepts the ring, Frodo begins to fade. Not in a dramatic fall, but in a slow, painful unraveling. Each step towards Mordor is a step away from himself. The ring not only burdens his body, it corrodes his will. What begins as courage becomes compulsion, and what begins as sacrifice becomes obsession. And at the very end, on the edge of the fire where the world's fate hangs trembling, Frodo fails. He does not cast the ring into the flame, he claims it as his own. This moment is not a flaw in Tolkien's story, it's actually the theology in it. Frodo's failure is the truest reflection of the human heart. When placed before ultimate temptation, even the purest heart cannot stand unassisted. Romans 7:18 says, For I have the desire to do what is right, but not the ability to carry it out. Frodo's will is no longer his own, and his strength is not enough to save the world. But this is where grace enters the story. Victory does not come from Frodo's success, it comes from his mercy. His pity on Gollum long before sets into motion the very means of the ring's destruction. What Frodo cannot do in his own strength, God accomplishes through mercy. It is an echo of the gospel itself. Salvation can never come through human perfection, but through divine intervention. Frodo's hands fail, but grace does not. And in the fire-lit moment, Tolkien whispers a devastating but beautiful truth. We are not saved because we are strong enough to finish the task. We are saved because in our weakness, something greater intervenes. Tolkien was careful to say that The Lord of the Rings is not an allegory, yet anyone who looks closely can see that it is soaked in theology, steeped not in a sermon but in truth. Middle-earth becomes a mirror, reflecting the ancient story of humanity itself. We see the fall of man and Sauron's corruption, a will bent inward, a heart once ordered towards beauty now swollen with the hunger for control. We see the bondage of sin in the ring, a subtle, persuasive, promising power, while quietly consuming the soul. We hear the call to discipleship in Frodo's burden, a weight accepted not because he's worthy of it, but because it's been given to him. We witness the perseverance of the faithfulness in Sam's steady devotion, the danger of pride in Boromir's tragic fall, and the whisper of resurrection in Gandalf's return. We even get to see the shadow of a true king in Aragorn's long, patient road to the throne. This is not a story about escaping evil. It's a story about meeting it, head-on, in the open fields of the world, and in the hidden chambers of the heart. Tolkien once wrote, "The Christian has still to work, with mind as well as body, to suffer, hope, and die. But by the mercy of God may he be victorious." And here, perhaps more than anywhere else, we find the soul of his tale. Not that the righteous are always powerful, but that the weak, upheld by grace, can endure. Not that the darkness cannot rise, but that light, even in the smallest hands, is never extinguished. And not that salvation is earned, but that it's given, often through broken vessels, trembling hands, and quiet acts of faithfulness that no one ever sees. Middle-earth is not another world, it's our world, stripped bare and made mythic. A battlefield of wills, a long road of obedience, a story where victory does not belong to those who seize power, but to those who surrender it. And in the end, the greatest force in existence is not the ring, it's not the sword, it's not the throne. It is mercy and grace.